Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Wednesday, April the 17th. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Our guest this morning is Barbara Buffaloe, but she's not here yet. She told me she was going to ride her bicycle to the studio today because she's trying to save as much energy as possible and help the environment. And then she comes.
Paul,
Not only is she riding to the studio, she's riding down the hall.
I am. Hi. Hi, Paul.
How are you? I'm impressed, Barbara
good.
Buffaloe.
Because I can ride a bike inside.
You rode it in Columbia. You rode it all the way downtown.
I did.
And then you rode it in the building.
Well, yes, I love riding my bike.
Down the hall.
Maybe not down halls as much.
Okay. Welcome here. But what was the purpose of this today?
Well, I don't know if you know, but in April, I do my 30 days of biking, where it's my biking challenge to show that you can bike every day. It's not that hard. Just try to do it at least once a day. And not only bike, but just try to.
Yeah, or walk.
Right, or walk. Well, so my reason for biking, though, is it's a campaign for 30 days of biking. And the idea is that it's my way of showing my commitment to climate action. Right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if I can do more active transportation, then I'm helping reduce transportation emissions from my car.
That's wonderful. And you're helping not only our generation, but future generations.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I have 2 little buffaloes.
Yes, I did know you had 2 little buffaloes, and you want to make sure that we have a planet Earth that's livable when they're your age.
I do. I do it for both those reasons, but also because it's fun. You know, like, Paul, this is one of the things that people always think about. They're like, oh, well, if I have to do something for climate change or for climate action, I have to sacrifice, right? Well, okay, I have to say, when I can ride my bike into work, I'm a lot happier when I get to the office. Yeah. I'm outside.
And you know what? Now, you rode your bike in your dress?
I do.
And your high heel shoes?
I don't wear that big of a heel, but it's a little bit of a heel.
She rode her bike in here in a dress and high heel shoes.
You don't have to wear spandex to be an active commuter. You can wear what you're going to wear normally and just make sure you build in enough time so you're not getting too sweaty.
So, right. How many miles do you commute from your house to work?
It's not too far. It's about a couple miles, right? So 2 miles, so 4 miles round trip. And then go and pick up the kids at school. We usually try to take their bikes as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Another reason you're doing this is because there is a public action plan, right?
Right. So, you know, besides the fact that I love to ride my bike, it's part of my job, right? Trying to encourage people to reduce their emissions. And one of the big things in my job we've been working on is our climate action and adaptation plan, which I am so happy to say we are putting out for a draft for public comment right now. So next week on April 22nd, the actual Earth Day, so not the festival, but the actual Earth Day, we're going to have an event at Daniel Boone Regional Library in the Friends Room where we're going to be talking about the Climate Action Adaptation Plan and asking people, what pledges will you make to help implement the plan?
Now, on Earth Day, what are you asking people to do? Turn off lights at a certain time for...
So that's Earth Hour. Yeah, so that's Earth Hour every year that started with the Wildlife Foundation, you know, where we do 8:30 to 9:30 on those Saturdays. So we do that every March. And then this year for Earth Day, we're saying, hey, you know, Columbia is still committed to reducing our carbon emissions. We care about our resiliency to climate change now, and we want to make sure that we, like you say, have this plan for the future. So on April 22nd, we're inviting people to come at 7 p.m. to the library and come hear about our plan. Listen about the vulnerabilities that we know we could expect, but also listen to the ideas and that we've come up with for actions.
April 22nd at 7:30?
Yeah, at 7.
7 o'clock.
Yep, 7 at Daniel Boone.
Are you going to turn the lights off then? You're going to have candle lights?
I'm not going to do that as much. But you know what? That's a good idea for a pledge that people could make.
Yeah.
Right? So I know one of my colleagues that works for Columbia Public Schools for Earth Hour, you know, they played games by candlelight. And it became this thing that was like, well, that's kind of fun. We could do that more than just once a year.
Yeah.
Right? You can make it part of your habit and your routine.
You know, and this is something that we need to think about on a regular basis.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
Yes.
Not just once a year on Earth Day.
Right.
But the fact that we are using more in this country than we can sustain over the long run.
Right. And that's not our traditional common sense values of the Midwestern. That's not what we usually think. We usually try to think of like, how can we conserve? How can we make sure that we're being resilient to these changes? And so the Climate Action Plan, one of the great things in there is that there's something for everybody to do.
Do you ever come against somebody? Does anybody ever come up to you and say, Barbara, what the heck are you talking about? Why? Why do we have to sacrifice? There really is no problem. This is all made up.
Well, I think about the benefits, right? So the co-benefits of all of these
actions. But have you ever had anybody say...
I might have come across the occasional person.
And what do you say?
Well, normally I say, well, what I usually think about is our co-benefits, right? So I think about, like, we can all agree that we want clean air to breathe. We don't want children with asthma. We can think about how we want clean water to drink and how we don't want to waste that water. These are values that we grew up with, and we're just basically making sure that we're continuing those values.
Yeah.
So everybody can come around to that, right? We all agree that this is the future that we want.
I hope so.
Yeah. And so what I'm really excited about with the Climate Action Adaptation Plan is putting all of these things into policy, but more so if people can come out on the 22nd and help make their pledge for what they're going to do. They don't have to ride their bike every day, but maybe trying to think of combining trips or getting a more fuel efficient car if you're going to drive.
You know what I find inspiring is the fact, even though the country officially, our government officially, is somewhat turning its back on this, many cities around the country are stepping forward and saying, no, we do care, and we are going to make a difference. And Columbia is one of those cities.
We are. So Columbia is grouped in with over 400 other U.S. cities, representing over 70 million Americans that have said that we are still in, and we understand that we want to prepare our planet, prepare our country, prepare our cities for the future, the changing climate, but also reduce our, how we add to that. So what can we do in our own operations? What can we do in our policies? And what can we encourage our community members to do?
When you think about the rising sea levels, think of cities like Miami, think of cities like Honolulu, who one day, if things keep going the way they are, will be underwater.
Yeah, it's hard. We're not at a coastal area. And so sometimes it's hard to think of it actually affecting us. But we see the effects with heat waves. We see the effects with extreme rain events that cause flash flooding. So even though we're not on the seas, we still are seeing
We still have the effects of it. You're right. Barbara Buffalo, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, sorry I was late.
Oh, that's okay. You're going to ride your bicycle. Just be careful in traffic, okay?
Thanks, Paul Pepper.
Our friend Barbara Buffalo from the City of Columbia Office of Sustainability. And I didn't even mention her hair today.
Oh, Paul,
but
so
you got
close.
that green streak. We got to go.
I'm going to put my helmet back on.
Something you'd like to hear or see, drop me an email. pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.